Hello, darlings. This is Corinne with Soulshift Channeling, and I'm going to start out with something a little bit different today. We're going to have a chat about where I'm feeling it and what kind of patterns and undercurrents I've been noticing personally. And then we'll get to opening up the Akashic Records and a collective message, followed by, I think, 5 today, individual channeled messages that you can choose from with the emojis in the description or the title. But let's just jump right into it. And this came to me the other day because it feels important to establish and gather context. And in an effort to share and be a little bit more transparent as a reader. I think there's a lot of intimacy that is required to show up to a reading. I think it's a very intimate experience, or can be, and I think it's important that, or at least it's important to me when I am volunteering my energy and my connection to people as someone who's receiving a reading, to understand and have a gauge on the energy of the person who's reading me. So it very much is a give-take exchange, and I want to show up and provide a little bit more information on what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing. So welcome. The patterns I've been witnessing and experiencing and shifting in my own experience lately, it's kind of this feeling of, I don't know if you know this saying of the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain it takes to shift. And I just think that's a really beautiful saying. I think it's challenging and sad, because does change always have to be painful? I don't think so. I think sometimes it can be easy, but I feel like I'm witnessing in my own life spaces that just places that I want to grow, and how the discomfort, I think, is more appropriate. The discomfort of staying in old patterns and in old ways of being, it's just feeling a lot tighter and a lot more uncomfortable than I feel like I've had an awareness of in the past. And it's really been encouraging me to apply myself consistently, which usually is not very much my strong suit, but apply myself consistently to grow and shift and step into new patterns and behaviors and ways of being. And I'm seeing this a lot in the way I show up in my relationships at work, and then also in my closer relationships. I'm recognizing that I don't think push has come to shove yet, but as we are in the holiday season and in a time of gathering, I feel the unbearable weight of the mask that we've constructed for ourselves, that I have constructed and tried to carry for too long, of being able to do more than I can, being able to show up in ways that I really would like to, but don't have the resources or bandwidth or sustainability to sustain. And a lot more time focusing on what really matters. I'm definitely feeling myself being called to focus on what matters, and for me, those things being appreciating the sun hitting the grass, appreciating walks with my sweet dog, who I'm sure you can hear breathing in the background, and really getting myself right to make sure that those quick dopamine hits of success, or just like playing the game, being desired, being appreciated, being like going for those cheap and quick like serotonin hits, I guess, just not really lining up with the values that I have in the life that I want to lead. So that's where I'm at this week. Yes, I spend a lot of time in some heady thought, and I love that about myself, but sometimes it can feel like a lot. So, yeah, I love to share, and I love to sit and read. So I'm thrilled to be here. Um, Thanks for coming along with. As always, feel free to skip to wherever you need to. Know that there's a collective message at the beginning, the tuning into piles then from there, and then there will be a collective message at the end. And quite oftentimes it's a nice bookend to the individual readings. So find it that way. If you want to book in, my appointments are open as of right now. They are going to close for a few weeks in January as I will be traveling, and yeah, I would love to see you. So thank you so much. Find me at soulshiftchanneling.com, and let's just get right to it. All right, my dears. As always, I'm going to start with a blessing that helps me connect to collective space, and I invite you to come along for the ride. Okay. My center with your center, our center with all centers, our center as the one center. I enter the realm of masters, teachers, and loved ones of the collective and match our hearts and minds with theirs. Let us find through joy and wisdom the ability to open the universe and ourselves to greater possibility and deeper love. Eternal Source, fill our hearts with clarity and sacred power and show us the collective's place of balance. Hear us now as we become one with the whole. When we are complete, release us in love and admiration, keeping our energy raised. The records are open. Okay, my dears, I'm realizing there was a point that I feel like I forgot to touch on, which was grounded shift. I just have shift but grounded written here. But in the opening imagery that came through, it felt like a lot of different strings, it feels like they come from many different directions. And it's almost like, I feel like this imagery has come through before. It's like if you were to gather a bunch of balloons up, a bunch of strings of balloons, and there's so many balloons that they naturally, just those connection points are coming from, not just up, but all over the place. And I'm seeing this gathering of stems, so to speak, and just kind of like putting in the ground, planting in the ground. And I'm seeing some being reminded, I work as a florist, and we have curly willow that comes in, and it often sprouts in the buckets because you can propagate curly willow from cuttings. And so we've been talking about placing this curly willow in a retention pond that is being constructed near where I work, so we can grow curly willow trees. And you know when you plant a plant and I think there is a term for it. It's like J hooks, or I don't know. There's a way that you can plant a plant incorrectly, and it's where you just stuff it in the ground and its roots are kind of pointed up towards the sky as opposed to being oriented down towards the earth. And then I hear haste makes waste. It feels important to say that to be deliberate will like take a minute but save a mile, and intentionality is key. It just feels like the focus and the remembrance to slow down and maintain presence with your work, maintain presence with your presence is super important right now. We are coming into gift giving as when this goes up. Tomorrow it's going to be not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. And it's just, we just had the solstice. It's a time of year of deep intention. And it's a potent time. And it's a time that feels important to be still with, or at least to be present with. We don't have to be in complete stillness. In fact, our bodies do want to move, but it is important to have presence, to have focused intention and presence. And if we are able to have focused intention and presence here, it really sets the seed. It really roots the plant really helpfully and effectively, so it can just get to growing, it can get to rooting, as opposed to having to be dug up and replanted, or struggling, or those roots taking a long time to have to then reorient and grow back down to recover the lost ground or the lost time. We don't want it to take 3 months to get to where we want to go. I know the reason that we make haste is that because we want it now, but really the best way to do it is to just maintain a deeper, more radical presence with where we're at. All right, and then what else did I see at the beginning? I think that's it. Okay, my doves, my loves. We're gonna do 5 groups today. Group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I'm hearing no emojis today, even though I just said that. That's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Take a moment, take a breath, pause if you need to, and tune into what message or messages might be for you. It's also helpful to, if you have multiple questions or multiple scenarios or situations on your heart, to ask about each individually and specifically, because I have a feeling we're going to be getting more narrow today than per usual. And I will see you in there. Okay. Group 1. Group 1. 1-1. Let's have some fun. I'm hearing this Lady Gaga song that's kind of raunchy. I mean, some of hers are. I love some Lady Gaga. I think it's called Disco Stick. And it goes, let's have some fun. This beat is sick. I want to take a ride on your disco stick. I feel some spicy honeys out there. Love that. Love that for you. Oh boy. And I'm hearing wrap it before you tap it. So if this is literally for you, then I will let you go ahead and take that literally. If this is more metaphorical, it feels important to establish, I hear clear but transparent. Clear as in direct and precise, and transparent as in openly stated boundaries. We can have clear boundaries that are not spoken, and then we can have boundaries that are spoken but not clear. In this case, we want both. We want boundaries that are clear and also spoken. It feels important for this group to claim their reality with their words, to start exercising and using your voice. I feel like the environment that you are in recently or lately is one that needs your vocal attunement when we speak. Yes, it's a vibration. Yes, there's like, what do I want to say? Echolocation. Yes, there's reverberation and there are sound waves bouncing off of the environment that then hit us back and give us information on how we hear ourselves in that space, literally and also figuratively. When we say clear boundaries in an environment of people, we impact them, and we can, our energetic body at least, can feel the impact that our words have on that space and give us a lot of information of like, okay, are we welcome here? How are our interactions going to go? Like, where might we need to go slow? And where might we be able to speed up the pace? Yeah. So finding your rhythm, finding your pace, and exploring with different paces is helpful here. Bunch of horny honeys. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for you. We are here to serve. The other thing I hear for this group is to not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not put all of your investment into one space right now, because again, with the kind of testing the environments and like dipping your toe in water, like sticking your hand into different, what do they say? Like, stick your finger in the pot, or stick your finger in the pudding, or like test the pudding, or something like this, where you put your finger in different pots, and then you can feel the temperature, you can take a little taste. It just feels so important here that when you put your finger in the pot, you also flavor the pot. You also impact that environment. And it just feels, yeah, it feels like this group does not understand their impact, or doesn't understand the value of their impact on the environment, on the group, on the situation, not for the environment, group, or situation's sake, but for your sake. When you allow people to get a culture of you, to get a, like, if we're talking about bacteria and sharing bacteria, bacteria is a lot of information. It consumes information. It breaks down things, and it proliferates. And there are a lot of really unique fermented things that could not be created without bacteria. And I'm hearing to be cultured. And in a world today where I am hearing, and I also do feel that culture is under threat. Sometimes we can become so melded and so melting pot-y that we forget to maintain the integrity of culture, of separateness, of not individuation, but of individual communities. And again, this is kind of going back to that rabbit experience of, we want to maintain separateness. It is not yet time to merge. It is not yet time to merge. I'm going to say it again. It's not yet time to merge. You can dip your finger in and allow some information exchange to happen. But there's no, like, you're not submerging your whole, it's the merging is not happening yet. And the importance of putting yourself out there, of speaking your boundaries, of giving your consent and willingness to participate, or at least meet, is doing a lot to kind of prep the situation. Oh boy. To prep the situation, and also to prep you as well. All right, my darlings, I'll be right back. All right, loves, we are being real people today. Coming back. The important part here is going back to the collective message at the beginning, is that the environment must be correct to plant in. And while I don't think you're far off from the correct soil conditions, I think there's a little bit more excavation to go to be able to seat yourself fully in the correct position. There just needs to be a little bit more space. Sometimes when you plant to plant, you have to, I mean, always really, if you're dealing with a really tightly compacted soil, it's important that you loosen the soil. Like if you dig a hole, you loosen the soil in the hole, so that way those tender, soft roots can make their way into more densely packed soil that's around it, until they get really strong and can sort of forge their own pathways on their own. So just a lot of, again, like dipping the finger in the pot, it's just kind of like loosening up the soil, like kind of causing a little bit of disruption without fully investing or fully committing yet. And again, yes, it will impact the environment itself, but the more important aspect of this story here is going to be observing the way in which you are getting fed back response. Because then it's really going to help you judge your own capacities to stay present and go the distance. Right? If you choose a partner who really is about high intensity, you need to understand what kind of intensity you are jumping into and what kind of time period you want to sustain that for. Is that something, if you're looking for a long-term sustainable relationship, what is sustainable for you? And by testing something out and getting information back of like, whoa, this is a little bit too much for me to sustain right now. Is it something that I want to ramp up my capacity for? Do I want to do the workouts? Do I want to exercise these muscles so that way I can have the staying power at this pace and speed? We don't know. You know that. And you're able to have that conversation with yourself, but only when you have the information of who you're matching with, of who you're engaging in intimate space with. Okay, my dears. There's nothing more for this group. Good luck, guys. Let me know how it goes. And wrap it before you tap it. Because you're not trying to make babies yet. Just trying to feel the vibe. Okay, loves. Group two. I hear don't be blue. I feel like there's a lot of sullenness in this group. It feels like downtrodden or not dejected, but melancholy for sure, like a strong melancholy. And kind of that feeling of a day when you kind of just want to disappear into your cup of tea. You know, you kind of just want to become herbal tea for the day, or chamomile, or you want to steep yourself in caffeine so that way you can continue to walk. And I am urging you to listen to your body in this moment of time. Yes, if you need to treat it with caffeine, it can bring you some important focus. And I'm going to ask you, are you focusing on the right things? Are you focusing on the right alignment when you do get that jolt of caffeine energy, or are you using that energy that caffeine is giving you, that it is robbing from other areas of your life? Are you applying it in the places that you really want to put it? And on the other side of this, when you kind of just want to become chamomile tea and become this soothing, just cozy, quiet, inner peace, I think this is really where you want to go. But again, like, you can't get trapped there. I have a feeling that this group can be kind of indulgent with the grief they carry, or maybe not, indulgence not quite the right word, but I think you can have a propensity to linger in spaces that don't need your grief. And it is important to, of course, process and hold your feelings and to allow them to develop and grow and change and shift and evolve, so that way you too may walk through them into the future that you want, desire, and deserve. So what does your balance look like? What is your, like, I'm seeing someone like setting a timer, being like, okay, I'm going to give myself 3 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, not even an hour. I hear like 20, I'm going to set a timer and give myself 25 minutes to be down in the dumps, or to grieve, or to cry, or to experience this however you want it. I hear like really sad girl, really sad boy, like really sad bean music that, is self-indulgent sometimes. And self-indulgence is not a bad thing when we put a limit on it. And so I want you to have, number one, the permission to feel these things very deeply, because I don't think you had the chance to feel those things back in the day. Even now, you may have to fight for I'm seeing like a 4-poster bed, or like boundaries, like stakes around you. You have to like put up your grief tent and say, hey, stay out of my room. Like, this is, I'm grieving in here. You know, you have to make space for yourself so you can show up for yourself like this. And just encouragement to do so. It's very important. It'll help you evolve. And guess what? I know that sometimes you feel trapped in it. But the thing is when you hold your own accountability, you don't get lost in it in the same way. When your grief is so large and your abandonment wounds are so high, it feels difficult to pull yourself out of the desert of loneliness or, grief or unknowing self-abandonment. But when you have a relationship with yourself, which I feel like you have, like, yes, it could always be improved. Yes, it could always be strengthened. Yeah, you can always do some more date nights with yourself. And I mean real date nights where you put the phone down, right? And you look each other in the eye. And you have enough of a relationship with yourself that you can set these boundaries and indulge yourself and continue the tasks for the rest of the day. You know how to do this. Yeah. It's very clear you know how to. I'm feeling like some of you are not feeling like you're making progress. And that's where I would say keep a journal, keep a task list, like keep a memoir or a captain's log or a ship's log where you just put in like 2 or 3 lines whenever you visit that space. And just like a ship's log is like, it's matter of fact, it's what happened, of like, okay, where am I at with this grief today? Because I feel like for some of you, it's like quite big, specific, heavy, like grieving the loss of certain relationships or certain connections. And that's a whole body of work. Just like an artist is going to take weeks and months, if not years, to move through a body of work, to create a body of work that can be displayed in an art gallery, right? The flashy results and the shows, like that time when you go through an experience and you make a different choice, and it's like the art show of all of your hard therapeutic work. Like, yes, it is, you know, a gallery opening is only a few hours. That experience in time might only be a few moments, but it comes from a lot of work behind the scenes. And that's what I want you to be doing now, but also to be keeping record of, because I think we forget until we get to the art show how much our work accumulates as, like, how that progress builds upon itself. And it can be easy to forget that we're building skill as we exercise our skill, that we are developing skill as we practice and utilize our skills. We are constantly evolving. We are never staying the same. And because this evolution can be so constant, again, flashback to the very, very beginning when I'm talking about, consistency and establishing consistency. Sometimes our consistency is so consistent, our evolution is so consistent that we become numb to it. It's like, yes, the earth is rotating. I can't remember the speed. I feel like it's like 3,000 miles per hour at the surface of the earth in relation to the earth's axis. Like we're constantly spinning, right? And it's so fast, but because we are not moving relative to our immediate surroundings, we've become accustomed to just moving at this rapid speed around the earth's core. It's the same thing. And were it not for keeping calendars and keeping notes of the seasons, we wouldn't really notice that we're moving from spring to summer to fall, and that the temperature is shifting over time and the lengths of the day are changing, even because it's just so incremental. It's just a little bit at a time that we can lose it if we don't practice our record keeping and our note taking. Miss Phoebe's here too. Just be so sweet. Yeah. Which reminds me of this sweet girl. She is 12 and she continues to age. And she's getting into the point where being aware of the shifts in her bodily abilities and her capabilities, the way that she can move, her what kind of movement is sustainable for her, what kind of running she can do, and how much is healthy for her, and how that's shifting and changing, is part of what being an ethical, responsible, helpful, careful caretaker. So it's important for me to be aware of that. And likewise, it's important for us to be aware of our own developments over time, not just so we can give ourselves slack when we want to beat ourselves up, but to, I'm hearing like, it looks like the trumpets, like to signaling the coming of Jesus, or the coming of the entrance of the heavenly gates, like da 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 da, the coming of the King, right? Yeah, it's important to celebrate and accentuate and call out our development. And this touches back to group 1 a little bit, of the importance of heralding the value and the intention and the effect that putting declaration into the world, what that does, not only for the environment, but for the heralds ourselves. And when we tout our own abilities and capacities and development and evolution, it lets us know that we can do more, that we have evolved, and so we can continue to evolve. It helps us feel larger and put our boots on when we come across deeper, steeper challenges. It builds our own capacity for self-belief and our capacity to overcome adversity. The next thing I see is like someone, it feels like a little book, like one you would put in a breast pocket, and it's like almost like a bookie, you know? It's like, and the first thing, it feels like tick marks, right? And it feels like taking note of your enemies is what it felt like initially, of like taking note of the naughty and the nice, right? Don't be blinded because you want to see certain things in people. Start taking notes. Start keeping receipts. And it's not so you can be like, look, you owe me this, and this. It's like, no. This is for your own ledger. This is for your own records. This is for your informed choice in the future to no longer take bets from certain people, because you know they're not going to make good on their promises, or to increase the credit limit of certain people who spend consistently with you. This is about you making better choices and you feeling more empowered and more informed when you make certain decisions, in case you get any pushback or feedback. Because when you draw a boundary, or when you open up space with someone and they are either surprised or asking questions about it, you can say, yeah, well, you know, I really like how you've showed up for me in the past 3 to 6 weeks, months, years, and it really helps me want to be closer with you. And you know, it just made me think, I just really value our friendship. I really wanted to take us out to this dinner for that. Or if someone's not showing up and then you decide to no longer allow them to take up certain amounts of time in your life, say, I don't have time for that dinner. I have time for coffee. and they can push back and question why. And you can say, well, I don't feel like you've shown up for me the last few times I've reached out. And I'm no longer willing to invest in relationships in our relationship in this depth of capacity if I'm not feeling met in the same space. It's really all about your empowerment and holding yourself accountable in a compassionate and self-responsible way. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to be super emotional. You don't have to take it personally. And by all means, you really shouldn't, because it is more about them than it is about you, right? Other people's actions are more about them than it is about you. And it's helpful as fellow humans for us to give each other helpful notes and give each other helpful feedback, not for the sake of feedback, but it's just helpful to have that feedback available to us. So you being above the board and responsible with yourself is going to allow other people to be more responsible with themselves, not just through the act of role modeldomship, but because it invites a certain gravity to the interaction that echoes in a frequency that's beyond our comprehension. When we maintain integrity between our physical, psychological, and energetic spiritual bodies, that is a powerful tool. That is a powerful tool by which to sing and tune our own habits, patterns, and beliefs, but to show up as a tune master or tune checker or whatever those things that you tune instruments with, to make sure you're on the right key or on the right note. It's helpful for other people too. So it's very much the mirror game, and the way that we mirror other people, or acting as a mirror, just can help other people. Just like when you get a clear reflection of yourself, free of hyper emotionality and full with fact checkable experiences, it's a lot of information, and it can really invite you to get more real with yourself. And that's what we're here for. All right, thank you guys. You know how to work with me if you need to, and we'll just see you next time. 3, group 3, group 3, group 3. I'm hearing pay to be free. And this is an illusion. This is an illusion. This is an illusion that we continue to hold up. This concept of, I need to buy my way into freedom. Bullshit. Have you ever seen How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? And how they, such a good movie. I love a rom-com, but it's so good. It's got Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey, and she goes home. They're dating, right? She goes home to meet his family, and they're playing a card game, a game of like, it's called Bullshit, but it's kind of like Go Fish, I'm pretty sure. And they're all basically ganging up on someone to kind of like help them lose, or take down the person who's always winning. I'm pretty sure it's Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. So he's like really good at the game, and everyone's working together to kind of give each other signals to kind of crowdsource the information to undermine a kingpin. And that is what this concept is of, you have to pay to be free. You have to buy your way into freedom. You have to earn a certain wealth before you can. It's the biggest load of BS. It's the biggest load of BS out there, because you know where freedom starts? In every single day choices. In the way that we walk out the door in the morning. Your freedom comes from your ability to control and to maintain partnership with your mind. It is not ownership over. I know some people will say it is, and we can agree to disagree, or we can disagree to agree, right? We can choose not to agree. But in my concept view and information stream, it is about being in partnership with your mental load and capacity. About working with your material and mental energetics to have proper form and structure in the way that you approach both your physical world and your mental world, which is really just your mental perception, reception of your physical world. And when we can work in concert and choose to engage in a way that allows us to feel enjoyment and empowered, that's where freedom comes from. When we're able to choose our experience rather than control our experience. Some people think freedom is about controlling our experience, and the freedom to control what's happening around us. And to a certain extent, yeah. But I would really argue no. If you need to control your surroundings in order to feel free, I do not think that that is free. I do not think that that is free, because it is dependent on something outside of yourself. And if the things outside of yourself are controlling how you feel, right? Because when we try and control others, it's really just us being controlled, our emotional experiences being controlled by them. And then us feeling like the only way to make ourselves feel a certain way is to shift and change the outside. When as a matter of fact, it's very much about shifting and, yes, maybe controlling our perception and our mindset and our responses to what's happening around us, no matter what is happening around us. Viktor Frankl is a really excellent thought leader in this area. He existed in Nazi concentration camps and pioneered a whole new way of therapeutic theory and basically existing within the human experience that is quite frankly astounding, and was born out of some of the most horrific conditions human beings have experienced in recent history. And so much of it is really about gaining control or building healthy, dynamic, and collaborative partnership with our own mental structures. Okay, group 3. Let me know how it's going. Let me know how it resonates. I would love to hear how this lands. I know we name dropped some things here. I have been trying to make a habit of adding external links and like little, how do you say? Just like breadcrumbs to more information of the things that are brought up in here. So you can always go to your pile in the caption and then see links to, I don't know, like how to lose a guy in 10 days. I don't think that's, yeah, I'll link that scene. That would be fine and totally easy. Let me know if you find those things helpful or if not. I trust that you guys have thumbs and you can Google things at your leisure and convenience, but sometimes I like to have a little smorgasbord, a little curated palette of continuation at my fingertips. I like it when someone does half the work for me, you know what I mean? Hence the channeling. I only got to do the last half. So, you know, someone else is, they're getting it ready for me up there. So that's so good. But anyway, bless y'all and happy holidays. And I'll see you next week, every Wednesday. All right, loves. Group 4. How are we doing? Ooh, I hear not well. Okay, friends, that's fine. Yeah, okay. I just get the image and feeling of someone having like a rant and kind of like throwing things around the house. And it's that kind of situation where it's like it does not help to talk to them. You're listening. It does not help to talk. You have to listen. That's just what it's about. Yeah, blow off some steam. Yeah, I think you're aware that you have to get something out of your system, and it might be a lot. There will be an end to it. This too shall pass. But it feels important to, and this echoes, I think, the second group. You gotta get it all out first. You gotta get it all out. And I recognize that this group likes to be more productive. I feel that you are someone who probably just likes to get things done, keep things moving, very productivity oriented, just doesn't like to dwell on things that are not helpful. And I would argue that processing emotions and also just finding out what pisses you off and what's upsetting you is super valuable. And you know what? Sometimes you feel a lot of anger and frustration in your body, or feelings in general, but right now it specifically feels like a lot of anger and frustration. And you can just in the act of blowing off steam and having that rant to yourself, or like, I don't know, getting in the car and like screaming through the situation, right? Having that conversation with your loved one or your ex-lover or your boss, or I don't know, whoever you're pissed off, the system. Having that conversation, and just like letting free. And I'm noticing that I scratched myself at my throat here earlier and it's still red. It's important to get all that out, because throughout the process, like 75% of the way through, you are going to stumble upon new information that you weren't really expecting to be at the root and at the core of what was actually bothering you. And again, I do feel like this echoes what came in an earlier message of like, sometimes the most surprising stuff is like, it's the information that we need to know about ourselves. It's the information that we must hear, not other people, that we have to hear about ourselves, and mostly about how our unconscious drives are controlling us. It's really about how, like, finding like the key or the linchpin or the crank turn, or the cranking mechanism, the locking mechanism. Something like will hit a certain capacity and then something will shift and will latch or unlatch. And it's about that more than anything else. And that the only people who can experience that shift is ourselves. No one else can do it for us. We can be so fortunate to be sitting across from someone who can mirror or reflect or tell us what's up in a way that we are able to and willing to listen, that can then catalyze a shift in our own expression and experience. But someone else having a realization, and this is where quantum stuff gets involved, it can't do it for us. It can make it easier for us to experience. So let's say that again. someone else having a realization or a breakthrough about what's going on with you or your behavior can't make you have that shift of realization or experience. It can invite you into it. And in the quantum, it can kind of like really set up the pathway, like really open the pathway for you to step into that. But it can't do it for you. We can't outsource our growth to other people. We can ask that they be willing participants in our own evolution. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal to ask someone else to witness your evolution. It's a beautiful thing to do. It can be inspiring and to give awe. It can be awe-inspiring. It can be kind of messy and ugly. It is very vulnerable. It's an incredibly vulnerable experience to allow yourself to allow your evolution and messiness to be witnessed by someone else. And to ask that someone consistently shows up to that space with you is an important factor and decision in your life. And it's something that can be shifted and changed at any time, right? You can revoke that access whenever you want, really. But to have healthy, sustainable relationships, it's important to maintain some consistency and clarity. And like in group 1, clear and transparent boundaries. Clear boundaries meaning not necessarily black and white, but pretty communicable, like able to be communicated boundaries. And then transparent meaning they are communicated. They're told, they're spoken, they're put out there. All right, my loves, what else is for you today? I'm seeing 2 things. It's like High School Musical when they do the song with the basketballs. If you're not familiar, it's a Disney Channel movie that's a musical, and a beat that goes, I don't know if the beat is actually like that, but the beat I'm hitting is like 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and it's like a basketball going from one hand to the other. 1, 1, 2. Okay. Sometimes, like, if we think of the left and the right sides of our bodies as masculine and feminine dominant, the right being the masculine, the left being the feminine, it's okay that you likely need to spend 2 beats on one side and 1 beat on the other to maintain a sort of balance. And you'll notice that the beat, like if you're musical at all, there's like a single note and then there's like the double note, and it takes up the same amount of time as a single note within the beat structure. But they're just 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. See how they're like, it takes, there are 2 percussive experiences in that allotment of time versus 1. And this is how I want you to see your masculine and feminine being balanced. You may need to have more touch points in your feminine, but you can still give equal airtime to your masculine and your feminine. You just may need more touch points in one area than another. It's how it stays in balance, because our body's rhythms, depending on where we come from, might be more or less familiar with a certain propensity or a certain yin-yang energetic. And so sometimes with our weaker energetics, we just need more touch points. We don't need more airtime. We need more touch points. We don't need more time spent. We need more interactions in that particular kind of space. All right, what else? Music does feel very important to this group. And that might be a really nice way to get in touch with that less held dynamic, or that might be a touch point that feels particularly helpful to you, is engaging with a musical experience that really brings out that particular flavor or dynamic in your own experience. You know, like listening to a samba might really get you in touch with your masculine drive to lead, or your feminine drive to follow, or feminine urge to follow, whatever. Or, yeah, I don't know. You're going to know. You're going to know what kind of music gets you in what mood, and for what reasons. All right, more for this group, yes. Another thing I am feeling is like a box of chocolates, like lots of different kinds of chocolate. Lots of different kinds of chocolate. Different kinds of chocolate. Heard it. Different kinds of chocolate. You know how in a box of chocolates, it's like, yes, there are so many different kinds of chocolate. There might not even be two that are alike. And also, it's still from the same box. It still came from the same manufacturer. And it's likely that a lot of the core components are pretty similar. Even if life is like a box of chocolates and you don't know exactly what you're going to get, there's a lot of consistency. And it's important here to recognize and see the consistency and the overtones that you're getting in your life. That help it feel more expected and help your nervous system relax. Sometimes we crave consistency, or we just are not used to things that get us out of our comfort zones. And really part of it is seeing that there's so much more in our comfort zone than what we realize or remember. It's not about making our smattering of experiences less diverse. It's about recognizing the similarities and the consistencies and the regularities between all the experiences that we do have. If you're the kind of person who sees a lot of new people every single day, finding familiar traits and characteristics in those new people that remind you of people that you already know, that remind you of people in your family. If you're going to new lands, you're going into a new experience, you are getting shipped out, you're deploying, right? And you're going to be meeting a lot of new people. Instead of it feeling like it's just brand new people over and over and over all the time, when you meet people, allowing them to show you who they are, but looking for aspects in them that remind you of something familiar, remind you of people you already know, and allowing that to kind of soothe your soul. I love you so much. Oh, yeah, you got this. You got this. I'll say it one more time. You got this. All right, I can't wait to hear all about it. Yeah, write me a letter. All right, my dears. Group 5. Group 5. Oh, okay. a lot of musical energy. I realize I missed something in group 4s. The other thing was, no, it's okay. It's not important. We don't go back. All right. A jail cell tango. A lot of musical energy. But for this group, I'm feeling like a liberation. But it's being trapped in different ways. Okay, so the thing from before was, if you've ever seen the movie Chicago, there's a number, or it's play. It was a Broadway show, and then I think they made it a movie. Either way, there's something called like the jail cell tango, or something. It's all of these people, all these women in cells that have been put away for crimes. I think mostly, if not all, against men. And the basic theme of it is like, he had it coming. He had it coming all along. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I tell you would have done the same. And then I see the musical number in 500 Days of Summer, which is far more celebratory. I see like 5 lines, 5 rays of sun. And there's this one musical number that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in, and he's dancing, and I can't remember anything about what it's about, but it feels like a celebration of life. Like like the day is so beautiful. There's like a bluebird that's coming and singing with him. It's just like, life is amazing. And these two are one and the same. It's like there's this concept of like 500 Days of Summer. I think summer is Zoe Deschanel. Is that her name? Yeah. And it's about being in a relationship, and it's the highs and lows of a relationship. And sometimes even our sunny days are held, quote unquote, within the prison of relationship. Or, the fence or the shelter that helps us feel safe and helps us blossom can also feel like a jail or confinement if the boundaries aren't right. Like, we can love and appreciate our homes. Our homes are where we have the safety to rest, to recharge, where we make our food, where we clean our wounds, where we take ourselves apart and put ourselves back together again, where we clean ourselves, where we are naked, where we construct and don our masks, don our clothes to go out into the great wide world. That happens in a home or in a house. And that can be so life-giving. And if we, quote unquote, become trapped in a home, or if we lose our will to leave, then yes, it can be confining and it can become a jail cell. Love and relationship can be the safest place you've ever known, and also so confining. It's about our practice, though. It is not about the other person, and it's not even just about ourselves. It is about our practice, which happens with 2 people. This can be for romantic relationship, friendship relationship, familial relationships, even animal relationships, but it can also be about jobs. It can be about workplace environments. It can be about a lot of different things, right? So extrapolate and plug into your life as you need. But the important part here is to get right with your frame of reference and to work together with your team, within yourself and outside of yourself, all the relational players, to practice well, to develop healthy practice. That's the right balance for you. That's going to allow you to feel like you have a safe home and a safe place. And the best part of that is to use that safe place to venture out of, to leave and to go and do incredible, amazing, big, beautiful things, because you are so well equipped and well rested and you packed your lunch that day. The key is to have both, and to work well with those around you to agree with and to discuss and to have conversations about what both looks like for you. And if it's the same or if it's different, if it's shifting and changing and growing, but that's dependent upon the bravery and conversations that you're willing to have. And I'm thrilled because there's a dear friend who reminded me of this recently, that to have courage in conversations though is an important part of getting what you want, or of asking for what you want. You really can't ask for what you want if you're not willing to have difficult and challenging conversation. And I love that for him and for me. It's good. It's good. Anyway, a reminder here too that not only is it the bravery to have the conversation, but the bravery to hear the response, and it's and on the other side of it, the value and importance to listen. That true connection can only be created through vulnerable speech and the capacity to listen. And when we are so lucky to find someone who is willing to do both, that's a conversation you want to have if you're brave enough to do so. All right, group 5, thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you so much. Let me know how you are. And I'll see you in just a moment for the closing, and then also in the weeks to come. Okay. Closing up the connection today. In love and light, I thank our masters, teachers, and loved ones for their information and guidance. Amen, amen, amen. The records are closed. The last thing I see is like, it looks like a cigar box. Not a wooden one, but one of the like paper cardboard ones. Or, you know how one might have, it looks like a cloth bound book. You know those books that like, yeah, it's like cloth that is over each of over the spine and over each of the cover, the front cover and the back cover. And it's almost like a box, like a hollow box that's made out of, not a real book, but like, you know, something that looks like a book, but it feels specifically covered in cloth. It just feels like a place where you would put your valuables and like trinkets and knickknacks and things that you would remember, like papers that you'd want to keep, sentimentals. And the knowledge here is that the importance of the paper, of the cloth part of it is something that absorbs water. Like if you spilled water on it, it would absorb it, or it would be a kind of protective barrier before that water gets to the cardboard or composite board underneath. It's just like our the value of our human skin, right, is mostly protects us from water, but the water is still allowed to pass in and out of our skin. Our skin is like is music the right word? Like kind of it's a membrane, and it's an interstitial membrane. It's a membrane between two spaces, the outside and the inside, and it gives kind of a buffer. And my toll to you, toll as in not like pay the fee toll, but toll as in like to extol, to I don't even know if that's the right use of the word. I don't know if you can use toll, but my request of you is to increase your capacity, to increase your buffer zone, to kind of foster and nourish that buffer that's around you, because it will allow you to step into more extreme environments that I think you're really well suited for right now. It'll let you go into spaces and basically just holding your valuables and sentimentals in a safe place and taking them out only when needed as a person, in the world, to move through the world, to hold your valuables dear to you, and to let them, they're not under lock and key, but they're in a special place, and to allow them to be accessed when and if you're ready behooves you right now. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. I so appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts. If you're interested in a one-on-one Akashic Record reading, it's what I love to do and what I'm quite good at. Find me at soulshiftchanneling.com. I offer individual readings, readings with your pet, partner, bestie readings, family and lineage readings. The list goes on. There's lots of different stuff to explore within the Akashic Records, and having a conversation and channel guidance from your higher self. It's a blast and a treat, and that's where you can learn more. Thank you, and until next week, bye.